Good morning and welcome to our presentation going over the Special Olympics Florida health programs and return to play protocols. My name is Damian McNeil. I'm the Regional Director for the Northwest Region, and this is Mary Bishop. She's the Programs Manager for health programs in the Northeast region.
Well, welcome and thank you for attending. And my name, like Damian said, my name is Mary Bishop, the Regional Manager for Northeast Florida and Health Programs. So here is an overview of exactly what I'm going to go over. So we're just going to do a general outline of what is Special Olympics Florida Health, as well as talk about our virtual healthy athlete screenings and health and fitness campaigns, as well as contact info, but that's also on our virtual exhibit booth. So we have two main aspects of health. We have our healthy athlete screenings and also healthy communities. And healthy communities I'll talk about in a little bit. But healthy athletes, we have 8 different disciplines that we do normally pre-COVID. And this focuses on prevention as well as determining if an athlete needs follow-up after the screening. And for example, our healthy hearing, which is audiology, we have a volunteer audiologist go through and give the athlete an exam and determine whether or not they need a hearing aid or a follow-up with an audiologist. Similarly, we have Fit Feet, which is our podiatry screening. This is where a podiatrist works with the athlete, asks them questions about their foot health, a lot of questions about shoes, what type of shoes, and we found that almost 60% of our athletes are in the wrong size shoe. So those are just a couple of examples of our healthy athlete screenings. So the healthy community works hand in hand with our healthy athletes screenings, but healthy community is, hence the name community, it's at the community level. So we do also have healthy athlete screenings at the community level. So it's a lot smaller scale, whereas healthy athletes is majority at the sports programs and sports competitions. The healthy community also works with ADTs, so adult day training centers, schools, and recreation centers. We also work with our university partners, so we can train students so they can perform the community level classes that we have that I'll talk about. So we had to pivot a little bit of our programs about a year ago and offer them 100% virtual. So as far as health goes, we are 100% virtual. Our programs and our virtual healthy athlete screenings are all 100% virtual. As of now, we have 3 of our 8 disciplines. So we have our opening eyes, which is optometry. We have Fit Feet, which I mentioned before, the podiatry, and healthy hearing, which I also mentioned before, the audiology. So all of these are one-on-one sessions over Zoom with a podiatrist, an optometrist, or an audiologist. Also, all of these are free of charge, not only to our athletes, but anyone with an intellectual or developmental difference. So for example, in opening eyes, there's some limitations because we can't prescribe goggles or glasses, but we can offer some kind of determination whether they need a follow-up. So just to give you an anecdote about opening eyes, an athlete was one-on-one with an optometrist, and it was found that they definitely needed a follow-up and actually was diagnosed with glaucoma. Similarly, Fit Feet, we also offer free shoes if we have the size, the athletes or a person with IDs and DD size. And they go one-on-one with the podiatrist. They ask questions, whether it's about dermatology, ingrown toenails. We can all determine those. Now, we can't diagnose, but we can determine if they need to be seen or not. And healthy hearing also has some limitations, whereas in person, we're able to actually give them hearing aids. We can, the virtual healthy hearing is more of an education. So for example, not to use Q-tips, only on the outside of your ear, whereas not on the inside, for example. But there's a lot of educational components to these virtual health screenings. So just to go over, everything is a one-on-one at this point, whereas previous to COVID, it was at a large sporting event or in the community. But this now is one-on-one with all of these practitioners. Another thing that we had to pivot was mailing out our health passports. Now, this is really important because not everyone has access to Zoom. Not everyone has access to an internet connection. So we had to reach our athletes in another way, and this is how we did it through our mailing of the health passports. So this is 7 of our 8 disciplines. It's a questionnaire about their social and mental health, about their physical fitness, etc. And we mail this out to them with a pre-stamped envelope, and they're able to submit it back to us, and then they receive an incentive or a prize. So another one of our health and fitness opportunities is we realized that we had to have a centralized location where we can have all of our information about our challenges, about the virtual health screenings, the classes that we have virtually. So we started the Fit and Well Facebook group. So last year, and it slowly grew. And as of this year, as of when I took this screenshot, it was 1.6 K members in the group. So it's a very robust group that we have. And anytime I need some inspiration, I simply go on there and I see an athlete who has just spent 8.5 hours on a stand-up paddleboard, or someone who is trying a strange or interesting fruit for the first time. So it's a great place where we can get inspiration from the athletes as well as stay connected with them. And here is the Fit and Well group. If you're on Facebook, you can search Special Olympics Florida Fit and Well, and it should come right up. So here is our virtual programming schedule, just kind of a snapshot. As you can see, most days we do have some sort of program. We don't have anything Monday or Sunday as of now, but we have our athletes who are teaching Zumba, who are teaching fitness classes. We also have a Just Dance fitness class with DJ Special. He's one of our athletes as well. So we're trying to engage not only our athletes to have these programs, but volunteers and coaches and the like. So every participant who goes to at least 10 sessions of the same class can receive some of these awesome incentives, or prizes, as everybody calls them. So for example, if you do the strength class with B, you are sent in the mail a desk elliptical. Or for example, the yoga class, you're sent a yoga mat and pose cards. So these are some ways where we can make sure that they're coming on a regular basis, because we all need a little incentive for health. So our another component is our virtual health and wellness classes that we have. This is where we partner with university partners. So for example, the Eyes on Smiles class, we partner with dental hygiene students, and they're presenting this 8-week class on dental self-efficacy, on oral health in general, how nutrition and oral health are connected, how to properly floss, how to properly brush, all of that. And it's presented to, again, not only our athletes, but anyone with ID or DD. And take it away, Damien.
Good morning again. I want to talk a little bit about our reintroduction to sports and our phased approach that we did take, and then some frequently asked questions, and then we'll close. So some of the protocols that we introduced when we came back to sports in fall of 2020 were our check-in process. It used to just be kind of you come in, you check in, and that's really it, and you're there for the day. Now we have temperature checks, and we make sure that they all sign a risk assessment form upon coming into a practice. So the temperature checks, of course, that's something that's pretty standard across sporting events now. and even going into different places. Some of the other protocols that we have are at first, with our phased reintroduction to sports, we were in phase 1, 2, and then 3. So phase 1, when we started, we were asking that there were no spectators at any of our training sites. So that was just to limit the numbers. In phase 1, we only allowed 10 people at one site at a time, which was difficult because usually sometimes we'll have 20, 30, 40 athletes at one site. And so to limit that really put some of the onus on our coaches to attend maybe multiple practices. It was definitely a transition and a little bit of a struggle, but we made it through it, and we're into phase 2 now. And with phase 2, we have 50 or less people at one site. And we hope to get into phase 3 soon so that we can have no restrictions on any of our events. So some of the other protocols that we had were, of course, social distancing and wearing a mask at all times. We asked our coaches to wear masks at all times, and athletes, if they were not participating in the event or sport directly, then they were wearing a mask. So let's say with basketball, if they were sitting on the bench, then they were wearing a mask at all times. They wore it walking in, they wore it walking out. And then any time that they were not directly participating in the event. We keep screening logs that keeps a record of everyone's temperature, along with who attended the events that day. And that's going to be for contact tracing and historical data, so that we know who attended a practice, if anybody did contract COVID. So the phased reintroduction, I talked a little bit about that, and I'll get into it more in our next slide. And then sport-specific parameters. Again, no direct contact. So what that means is I'm not touching anybody else at practice, and that goes for the athletes as well. So we didn't have soccer practice to begin with. In its traditional format. So we didn't have offense and defense playing on the field at the same time. Instead, they were only doing offensive and or defensive drills separately. And of course, the mask mandates continued through all of the sports. So how we reintroduced sports in fall of 2020, we started with golf and tennis. We thought that being outdoors and with the number of athletes that played golf and tennis, we can limit the numbers along with limiting the or keeping a distance between the athletes. There's obviously no direct contact in golf or tennis, so very easy to control from that standpoint. It was really our introduction to sports again, so we wanted to be sure that it was a sport that we can control very easily. And then when we got into later phase, we got picked up with basketball. Again, we didn't have any scrimmages. There were 0 scrimmages with basketball throughout the entire season. So it was a skills-based practicing and skills-based competitions. We didn't have regular scrimmages or games because we wanted to do away with any direct contact throughout the season. We are still in that phase right now where there is no direct contact. We're still in phase 2. So we did pick up with tennis, athletics, bocce, cycling, soccer, volleyball, and cheerleading. With bocce and cheerleading, we're asking that all athletes wear masks even while they're participating in the sport because of the activity. The activity level is not too high, and they're able to wear the mask the entire time. So that's something that we want to be sure that we are asking of the athletes if possible. So all of those sports are going on. We have had culminating events across the state. Again, we aren't having any team sports. It's all skills-based. There is no direct contact with our athletes. We are beginning in April swimming, paddleboarding, surfing, and bowling. So we're very excited to begin all of these sports. April and May, we're going to be beginning all of these sports throughout the summer. We're hoping that we'll be able to open up into phase 3 so that we can allow that direct contact going forward. So some of the frequently asked questions that we get, I know I get these phone calls at least once a week. how does one get involved with Special Olympics? So we truly have something for everyone. I have 2 children in the house, and I couldn't imagine taking one child to a sporting event and not the other. So I know that's a struggle for some parents out there. So we have what are called unified sports, where you can have one person who has intellectual developmental disabilities playing on the same team as somebody without. So we have plenty of brothers and sisters playing on the same team together, parents and children. Really, really is a great initiative that we have in Special Olympics. And we have everything from, of course, our sporting programs to youth adaptive programming, coaching opportunities, volunteer opportunities. We really have something for everyone. So anyone can get involved in their local programming. I get this question all the time: where are the Special Olympics? Special Olympics programming are in every single community across the state. You can find one, within very, very likely 45 minutes of your house, no matter where you are in the state of Florida. We have training programs going on year round. We don't stop. There are no off seasons, as we say in Special Olympics. And we have competitions that culminate all of these sports throughout the year. And the last one: how much are the health screenings? And they're completely free of charge, open to anyone with IDDD, and there's no necessity to be an athlete with Special Olympics to gain access to the health screenings. They truly are a community-based effort that we have across the state. And I wanted to close with a quote from our founder, Eunice Kennedy Shriver. And I think this kind of sums up the feeling across Special Olympics Florida and the athletes that we have within the program. You are the stars and the world is watching you. By your presence, you send a message to every village, every city, every nation, a message of hope, a message of victory. That concludes our presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.